I can almost guarantee that at some point you've considered running multiple websites for the same keywords you're currently bidding on in order to dominate page 1 of Google, to push your competition out, take more slots on the search results page, get more leads, more money for your business. But is this something you should be doing? Is Google happy if you do this? And what are the rules and things to consider if you are thinking of doing this? Well, today's video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what is meant by double serving, as it used to be known, showing multiple websites belonging to the same business for the same cohort of keywords and seeing whether or not it's something you should do, whether it's something you can get away with, and what the future holds for this strategy. So just for clarification, when people talk about running multiple ads to the same business, there are 3 different example scenarios people are talking about. The first one is, of course, if you decide to run multiple campaigns to the same website, crossing over with the same keywords. Now, this is something that you are technically allowed to do, but it doesn't work very well, because as soon as you start running ads to the same group of keywords across multiple campaigns in your account, when it comes to the auction, when somebody goes to Google and they type in something to trigger your keywords, Google has to make a decision. It has to ultimately decide which campaign and keyword and ad is going to serve to that user, and they can't serve multiple. Whether you have 10 campaigns or 1 campaign targeting your keywords, if that one keyword in your account is triggered by a user's search, you can only show 1 ad to that user per ad account and per website. So that is something to consider. So what I'm talking about isn't doing this, because of course this is a bad idea. You need to segment your campaigns better and serve the right user, the right queries based on your campaign structure. What I'm talking about is if you create a separate ads account completely, so the literal interface you log into, create a different ads account, run it to a different website, to the current website you're currently running ads to, can you get away with it as the same business? Well, let's walk through the scenario in Google's eyes. So you've got one ad account here and another ad account here. They both have the same keywords targeting in each ad account. The only difference is, of course, this ad account has website A and this account has website B. Website A and B have the same focus, targeting the same keywords and the same products and services. And then you go to the ads auction, someone types something in to trigger the keywords in either account. Yes. When you go to the search results page, both of those websites from those 2 ad accounts are eligible to show on the Google search results page. So you might think to yourself, oh, this is a fantastic strategy. I'll just keep building out Google Ads accounts, creating new websites, and then basically going live with multiple ads for different websites across different accounts to dominate page 1 of Google in the ad results. Well, there are some things to consider here. The first one I want to cover is, of course, the brand identity impact. Now, if you're building a brand and long-term business to really gain ground in your niche or industry, branding is important. So by having multiple front doors to the same business, you're going to hurt your brand. You're going to massively dilute it. The recall is going to be much harder. If they go through website B as opposed to website A, which is your main website, then your lifetime value and returning customer rate could be a bit different to what it used to be, because it's a different front door, a different brand that the person doesn't necessarily recognize next time around when they see your main brand. You've diluted your brand. So from that perspective, I wouldn't advise it for businesses looking to build a long brand that's going to have a longevity and last well into the future to put you in a good stead in the long term. But what if you're a small business and you don't really care about brand, and a website is a website, it's just a vehicle to generate leads for you. You're not looking to basically build a brand. Maybe you're promoting a service that's a one-off use that people will only use once, maybe in their entire lifetimes. Then maybe it's something you can consider, and it can work. And a lot of businesses I've seen work really well by doing it. You can have technically multiple websites going to the same business, just different ad accounts, and it can work. And businesses large and small are doing this. Now, before I continue, one thing to consider is I said it can work and it can give you incremental gains in leads, but there's something I've not told you yet, and that is, what is Google's stance on this? Well, maybe about 5 years ago, there used to be a policy known as double serving, and Google used to explicitly say you cannot do this on Google Ads. It's not good to do this, and this double serving policy kind of sticks in the minds of a lot of people running Google Ads now, thinking it's still a relevant policy. It's not something Google mentions in their documentation anymore, even though there are a bunch of YouTube videos talking about it and remnants of Google's help forums mentioning this exact thing. It's not something that is considered as I suppose, a policy anymore. But that doesn't mean Google doesn't care about it because, of course, like everything, they keep updating their policy, and they have a new policy that covers exactly this. And this policy is known as abuse of the ad network. And in particular, within that policy, there is a clause known as the unfair advantage. And among mentioning many other things like bidding on brand names when you're running affiliates to a particular brand, they also mention that running multiple websites to the same business is an abuse of the ads network because of this practice of this clause within the policy. It gives you an unfair advantage in Google's eyes, therefore you are technically in violation of Google's rules and regulations. So if you are running multiple websites to the same business through different ad accounts, yes, you are technically in violation, but what is the likelihood you're going to get caught? Well, before Google had your full business details through verification, then it's very unlikely you would have got caught. Google would have literally no idea whether or not you were belonging to business A or business B. All they cared about was your website, your credit card details, and getting you live on Google Ads. In fact, it was much easier for even sole traders who don't have an LLC or limited company to run ads on Google because it was pre-verification. But now, of course, there is business verification, and that means Google knows exactly who you are. So when you run ad account A and ad account B and you verify both of those businesses, you're going to be showing as the same limited company or LLC on both of those accounts. So Google will know for sure it's the same business. Now, of course, you could potentially have multiple businesses and do the same thing, bit more administration work required, or maybe you already have multiple businesses and you can probably get away with it. That's one thing to consider. But even if you don't get away with it and you're clearly somebody who has one business under multiple websites and multiple brands, what does Google actually do about it? Well, as I said at the start of this video, I haven't actually seen any business, large or small, be penalized for this clause within Google's policy. Now, that doesn't mean I'm telling you to go ahead and do this. I'm just telling you I've not seen it. And one clear example I can give you, I won't give you the specifics, but it's a clear example of what I mean. There is a large insurance company here in the UK, and they have five brands all under the same company, all running ads on Google to different websites. And in fact, it's so bad that when you go into some of these websites, the quote engine that powers the insurance quote actually says powered by and the main company name across all of the brands. So in actual fact, this is a clear violation. And one of the things I want to mention here is I've got a client in the same space, in the insurance space, and the issue they've got is, of course, they're getting squeezed out because all of a sudden this company is pushing 5 websites on the search results page this year. This only just started, by the way. It's pretty new. So as of this year, they started pushing ads out on Google, forcing my client down in the rankings because they're massive companies backed by a lot of money with 5 front doors to the same business. And we are literally in a position where we are speaking directly to Google. Speaking to Google, because my client spends a lot of money. He has a dedicated Google account manager based in Dublin, and they are investigating this on our behalf. Now, they've been investigating this for a while, and so far, they are still advertising. The competitor is still advertising with 0 issues, without being banned, without any issues happening, and it comes down to one simple fact. The more parties involved in an auction, the higher the price can become, especially with smart bidding. You have 5 websites bidding on the same cohort of keywords. If that 5 were to become 1, then all of a sudden the size of the auction cuts down by probably around 30 to 40% in terms of who is showing on the auction insights page and who's spending significant money on the auction insights page. So all of a sudden, the size of the auction is cut down, the cost per click and the cost of that auction comes down because there are less people in market trying to get leads from the same group of keywords. And if the cost comes down, Google makes less money. It's a simple fact. So I'm going to be honest, I can't see a world where Google enforces this policy very strictly because the more people advertising, even if it's the same business with multiple front doors as websites, the more money they make. So in reality, it's one of the few policies actually that, Google can be a stickler for some particular policies and ban accounts, when they don't necessarily need to, like the misrepresentation policy for people running e-commerce. That happens a lot. And This policy is something that is actually unfair to a lot of businesses, and Google hasn't done anything about it, and I don't think they ever will. So overall, where does this leave us? Well, the advice I always give to advertisers when it comes to grey areas like this is it's all down to your level of risk tolerance. I speak to advertisers who are terrified of getting their ad account banned. They would never ever consider running multiple websites with multiple accounts to the same number of keywords because of that unfair advantage clause within that policy. Other businesses I speak to are like, we don't care, we're going to run multiple. Our competitors are doing the same. We want to do this, we want to capitalize, we want to get incremental sales, we're going to do it. So there's no right or wrong answer here, but all I will say is the likelihood of getting banned for this policy is pretty low. But again, it all comes down to your level of risk and tolerance. What do you as a business owner or as an agency have as your level of tolerance or risk? So let me know in the comments, is it something you've considered? Is it something you're doing right now? Have you ever had an account banned as a result of this policy? Let me know in the comments below. I reply to all comments on all of my videos. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the rest of the content across my channel, and I'll see you guys on my next video.